Thank you for staying with me all the way to day 7. That tells me something important about you. It tells me you're not just looking for another quick fix or another list of foods to memorize. You're looking for a way of eating that actually makes sense, one that you can continue long after this series is over. So before we dive into today's meals, I want to ask you something. When this series ends, what happens next? Will you feel confident enough to walk into the grocery store without wondering if you're choosing the wrong foods? Will you know how to build a balanced plate even when the recipe isn't written out for you? Or will you still feel like you're starting from scratch every time you prepare a meal? Those are the questions day 7 is designed to answer. Over the past 6 days, we've explored one piece of the puzzle at a time. We talked about choosing better proteins, adding more fiber, reducing processed foods, supporting your heart, calming inflammation, and even nourishing your gut, because healthy kidneys depend on much more than one single organ. Yesterday, we discovered how improving gut health can influence the way the body processes nutrients and supports overall kidney wellness. Today, we bring everything together. Instead of focusing on one nutrient or one ingredient, today's meal plan is about learning a simple pattern you can use again and again. Once you understand that pattern, you won't need to rely on complicated meal plans or wonder whether you're getting everything right. You'll know how to mix lean protein, wholesome carbohydrates, colorful vegetables, healthy fats, and simple cooking methods into meals that are satisfying, practical, and easy to repeat throughout the week. Stay with me until the very end, because I'm going to share one of the most valuable kitchen strategies from this entire series, a simple method for building balanced kidney-friendly meals without constantly measuring, calculating, or second-guessing every ingredient. Many people never learn this approach, yet it can make healthy eating feel dramatically easier. And if you've enjoyed walking through these 7 days with me, I'd love for you to subscribe before we continue. That way, you'll be the first to see future videos where we keep turning nutrition science into practical habits that fit real life. Now let's finish this journey by building a balanced kidney-friendly plate that brings together everything you've learned throughout the week. Why day 7 matters. Looking back over the past week, I hope you can see that this journey has never been about finding one magical food or following one perfect menu. Together, we've been building something much more valuable than that. You've learned how to choose better sources of protein instead of relying on heavily processed meats. You've discovered practical ways to reduce sodium without sacrificing flavor. You've added more fiber, more colorful vegetables, and more whole foods to your meals. Along the way, we've explored how supporting your heart, calming inflammation, and nourishing your gut can also help create a healthier environment for your kidneys. Perhaps most importantly, I hope you've started feeling more confident in your own kitchen. That has always been the true purpose of this series. The goal has never been to cure chronic kidney disease or lower creatinine in just 7 days, because no meal plan can honestly promise that. Instead, these 7 days are about helping you build lifelong eating habits, understand how different foods work together, and make healthier choices with confidence every time you prepare a meal. Those small choices, repeated consistently, are what create meaningful change over months and years. One way I like to think about this final day is by comparing it to putting together a jigsaw puzzle. During the first 6 days, we collected the individual pieces. One day focused on choosing smarter proteins, another highlighted fiber. Then we explored heart health, inflammation, gut health, and simple cooking habits. Each lesson mattered, but each one was only one piece of the picture. Today, we fit those pieces together into one complete image. I also like another comparison. Learning to eat well is a lot like learning to drive a car. At first, you try to remember every road, every traffic sign, and every turn. Eventually, you stop memorizing individual streets because you understand the principles of driving itself. Healthy eating works exactly the same way. I don't want you to memorize 7 different meal plans forever. I want you to understand the simple principles behind them so you can confidently build balanced meals with the foods you already enjoy. That's exactly why today's breakfast, lunch, and dinner were chosen so carefully. Every meal brings together the essential building blocks we've discussed throughout this series. You'll find lean protein to support your muscles while reducing unnecessary saturated fat. Whole grains provide steady energy instead of quick highs followed by energy crashes. Colorful vegetables supply fiber, vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that help nourish your entire body. Healthy fats add satisfaction while supporting your heart. And simple seasonings like herbs, garlic, lemon, and spices prove that delicious food doesn't have to depend on excess salt. When these elements come together, they create balanced nutrition, more stable energy, better support for your heart and blood vessels, and an eating pattern that is naturally friendlier to your kidneys. Even more importantly, this isn't a menu you'll use only once. It's a flexible formula you can recreate with countless different ingredients, giving you the confidence to prepare healthy meals long after this 7-day journey comes to an end. Let's start with a breakfast that demonstrates how building a balanced plate can be much easier than most people imagine. 1. Building a better breakfast from simple ingredients. One of the biggest lessons I hope you've taken away from this series is that a healthy breakfast doesn't have to be complicated. Many people think they need expensive ingredients or complicated recipes to build a kidney-friendly meal, but I believe the best breakfasts are often the simplest ones. Today's meal is a perfect example. It combines egg whites, a whole grain tortilla, and colorful vegetables into a balanced breakfast that is satisfying, practical, and easy enough to prepare even on a busy morning. More importantly, it brings together many of the principles we've been practicing all week. Egg whites continue to be one of my favorite breakfast proteins, and there's a good reason for that. They provide high-quality protein that helps maintain muscle strength, something that becomes increasingly important as we get older. At the same time, egg whites contain much less phosphorus than whole eggs, making them a smart choice for many people who are trying to build kidney-friendly meals. That doesn't mean whole eggs are automatically bad, but using egg whites more often is one simple way to enjoy plenty of protein while keeping your meals lighter. I also appreciate how versatile they are. They cook quickly, blend well with vegetables, and allow the natural flavors of fresh ingredients to shine. Another ingredient I enjoy using is a whole grain tortilla. Some people worry whenever they hear the word carbohydrate, but carbohydrates are not the enemy. The key is choosing better quality sources and paying attention to portions. Whole grains contain more fiber than refined grains, helping your body release energy more gradually instead of all at once. I often compare whole grains to thick logs burning in a fireplace. Small pieces of paper burn quickly, creating a burst of heat that disappears almost immediately. Thick logs burn slowly and steadily, providing consistent warmth for a much longer time. Whole grains work in a similar way by providing a steadier source of energy that can help you stay satisfied throughout the morning. As you shop, take a moment to read the nutrition label and choose tortillas with lower sodium whenever possible. That small habit can make a meaningful difference over time. The vegetables in today's breakfast deserve just as much attention as the protein and the tortilla. Bell peppers, spinach, and onions do far more than make the wrap colorful. They contribute valuable vitamins, minerals, fiber, and natural antioxidants that help nourish your entire body. Bell peppers add a pleasant sweetness and plenty of vitamin C. Spinach contributes important nutrients along with additional fiber, while onions provide flavor that reduces the need for extra salt. Together, these vegetables create texture, freshness, and variety while helping you build a breakfast that feels satisfying without feeling heavy. What I especially like about this meal is the way every ingredient complements the others. The egg whites provide quality protein to help keep you full and support muscle health. The whole grain tortilla contributes fiber and steady energy that lasts through the morning. The colorful vegetables add even more fiber, along with vitamins and antioxidants that support overall wellness. Instead of one ingredient doing all the work, every part of the meal has its own role. Together, they create a balanced breakfast that supports stable energy, encourages better digestion, helps you avoid unnecessary snacking, and fits naturally into a kidney-friendly eating pattern. Preparing this breakfast is simple enough for almost anyone. Begin by washing and slicing the bell peppers, spinach, and onions into bite-sized pieces. Heat a non-stick skillet over medium heat and cook the vegetables with a small amount of olive oil or cooking spray for just a few minutes until they become slightly tender but still retain their bright color and a little texture. Try not to overcook them because vegetables lose some of their freshness and pleasant crunch when they're cooked too long. Next, pour the egg whites into the pan and gently stir until they're fully cooked. Warm the whole grain tortilla for about 30 seconds in a dry skillet or microwave so it becomes soft and flexible. Spoon the vegetables and egg whites into the center of the tortilla, fold in the sides, and roll everything together into a simple breakfast wrap that's easy to enjoy at home or take with you. When it comes to portions, keeping things balanced is usually the easiest approach. One whole grain tortilla, about 3 egg whites, and a small handful of mixed vegetables create a meal that provides satisfying nutrition without becoming overly large. If you're especially hungry, adding a few extra vegetables is usually a better choice than dramatically increasing the tortilla or the protein. The goal isn't to eat as much as possible. The goal is to create a balanced plate that leaves you feeling comfortably satisfied and energized. Next, let's prepare a lunch that brings nearly every lesson from this series together inside one colorful meal. 2. One colorful meal that brings everything together. One thing I've learned after years of talking about healthy eating is that are often the ones that make life easier, not harder. That's exactly why I wanted today's lunch to feature stuffed bell peppers. Instead of thinking about separate side dishes, different cooking methods, or trying to balance your plate after everything is already cooked, this recipe brings nearly every important food group together in one simple meal. Every bite contains protein, whole grains, vegetables, and plenty of natural flavor. It's satisfying enough for lunch, easy to prepare ahead of time, and just as delicious when enjoyed as leftovers the next day. More importantly, it reflects the biggest lesson of this entire 7-day journey. Healthy eating isn't about making meals more complicated, it's about learning how simple ingredients can work together. Lean chicken continues to play an important role in today's recipe because it provides high-quality protein while containing less saturated fat than many heavier cuts of meat. Throughout this series, I've never wanted you to fear protein. Instead, I've wanted you to become more thoughtful about the type of protein you choose. Fresh, lean chicken is a wonderful example of that idea. It helps support muscle health as we get older, keeps meals satisfying, and fits naturally into a balanced eating pattern. When paired with fiber-rich foods instead of heavily processed ingredients, it becomes part of a meal that nourishes your body without feeling overly heavy. That's a principle you can use long after this series ends. Brown rice is another ingredient that perfectly represents everything we've discussed this week. Many people automatically assume they should avoid carbohydrates, but the truth is that your body still needs them for energy. The difference is choosing carbohydrates that work with your body instead of against it. Brown rice is a whole grain, which means it naturally contains more fiber than refined white rice. That extra fiber helps slow digestion, creating steadier energy throughout the afternoon instead of the quick rise and fall that often leaves people reaching for snacks a few hours later. I like to think of brown rice as a steady companion that keeps your energy moving forward at a comfortable pace instead of rushing ahead and disappearing too quickly. It's another reminder that healthy eating is rarely about eliminating foods. It's about making smarter choices whenever you can. Of course, the star of this meal is the bell pepper itself. Most people notice its bright color first, but it offers much more than an attractive presentation. Bell peppers are naturally rich in vitamin C, along with antioxidants that help protect your cells from everyday oxidative stress. They also contribute fiber and a satisfying crunch that makes every bite feel fresh and enjoyable. Using the pepper as both the vegetable and the serving bowl is one of my favorite parts of this recipe. It transforms an ordinary lunch into something colorful, inviting, and surprisingly filling without relying on heavy sauces or excessive sodium. It's proof that healthy food can be visually appealing as well as nutritious. Preparing these stuffed peppers is much easier than they look. Start by cooking the brown rice according to the package directions while you season and cook the chicken breast until it's fully done. Then chop or shred it into small pieces. Dice onions, spinach, mushrooms, or any other kidney-friendly vegetables you'd like to include, and lightly sauté them until they're just tender. Combine the cooked chicken, brown rice, vegetables, and your favorite herbs in a large bowl, adding garlic, parsley, black pepper, or a squeeze of lemon for extra flavor. Instead of relying on large amounts of salt, slice the tops off the bell peppers, remove the seeds, and fill each pepper generously with the mixture. Arrange them in a baking dish and bake at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 25 to 30 minutes, or until the peppers become tender while still holding their shape. The result is a colorful, complete meal that's both comforting and nourishing. One of the reasons I recommend recipes like this is their flexibility. If chicken isn't your favorite, lean ground turkey works beautifully and provides a similar source of quality protein. If you'd rather enjoy fish, cooked salmon can also make an excellent filling. And if you want to change the grain, quinoa is another wonderful option that adds extra protein and fiber while keeping the meal balanced. Once you understand the formula, you can adapt it in countless ways using ingredients that fit your taste and your grocery budget. If you've enjoyed following this 7-day meal plan and you're ready to continue building simple, practical habits that support long-term kidney health, I'd love for you to subscribe and join me for future videos. There are many more easy recipes and everyday nutrition strategies still to come. Dinner finishes this series with a simple meal that shows healthy eating doesn't have to be complicated. 3. A simple dinner you can enjoy again and again. If there's one meal I hope stays with you after this series ends, it's this one. Many people assume that a kidney-friendly dinner has to be complicated, expensive, or completely different from what the rest of the family eats. I don't believe that's true. Some of the healthiest dinners are also the simplest, especially when they focus on fresh ingredients prepared with care instead of relying on heavy sauces or processed convenience foods. Today's meal brings together mild white fish, wild rice, and roasted Brussels sprouts into a balanced plate that's comforting, satisfying, and practical enough to prepare week after week. More importantly, it demonstrates that healthy eating isn't about chasing perfection. It's about creating meals you genuinely enjoy and can continue making long after this 7-day journey comes to an end. Haddock is one of my favorite fish to recommend because it checks so many important boxes. It's naturally lean, making it an excellent source of high-quality protein without large amounts of saturated fat. Its mild flavor appeals to people who normally don't enjoy seafood, and compared with many other fish, it's often more affordable and widely available at grocery stores across the United States. That's an important point, because healthy eating should fit your real life and your budget, not just look good on paper. Protein continues to play an important role as we age by helping maintain muscle strength and supporting everyday function. Choosing lean fish like haddock allows you to enjoy those benefits while keeping your evening meal light and easy to digest. Wild rice is another ingredient that deserves much more attention than it usually receives. Although many people think of it as simply another carbohydrate, it offers much more than energy alone. Wild rice contains fiber that supports healthy digestion and helps meals feel more satisfying. It also provides important minerals, along with a pleasantly chewy texture that makes every bite more interesting. One of the reasons I like using wild rice is that it slows the pace of the meal. Instead of eating quickly and feeling hungry again soon afterward, the combination of fiber and texture encourages slower eating and longer-lasting satisfaction. Once again, we're reminded that the quality of a carbohydrate often matters more than simply avoiding carbohydrates altogether. Brussels sprouts complete today's plate in a way that goes far beyond adding another vegetable. They're naturally rich in fiber, helping support digestive health while contributing to a feeling of fullness. They also provide vitamin K, vitamin C, and a variety of plant compounds that help protect cells from everyday oxidative stress. Years ago, many people disliked Brussels sprouts because they were often boiled until soft and bitter. Roasting changes everything. The natural sugars begin to caramelize, a sweeter flavor with crispy edges and a tender center. Even people who thought they didn't like Brussels sprouts are often surprised by how enjoyable they become when they're cooked this way. It's another reminder that sometimes changing the cooking method can completely change the eating experience. What I appreciate most about this dinner is the balance it creates. The haddock supplies lean, satisfying protein to support muscle health without making the meal overly heavy. Wild rice provides steady energy, along with fiber that supports healthy digestion. Brussels sprouts contribute additional fiber, vitamins, antioxidants, and vibrant color that make the plate both nutritious and appealing. Together, these simple ingredients create a dinner that's easy to digest, comfortably filling, and well-suited for the evening when many people prefer lighter meals. Instead of overwhelming the body before bedtime, this balanced combination supports overnight recovery while fitting naturally into the healthy eating habits we've been building throughout this series. Preparing this meal couldn't be much easier. Begin by preheating your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Pat the haddock fillets dry with a paper towel, then season them with black pepper, garlic powder, parsley, and a squeeze of fresh lemon juice. Place the fish on a parchment-lined baking sheet and bake for about 12 to 15 minutes, or until it flakes easily with a fork. While the fish cooks, rinse the wild rice and prepare it according to the package directions, allowing enough time for it to become tender. Trim the Brussels sprouts, cut the larger ones in half, toss them with a small amount of olive oil, black pepper, garlic, and a little thyme, then spread them in a single layer on another baking sheet. Roast them for about 20 to 25 minutes, turning them halfway through so they brown evenly without burning. Once everything is ready, arrange the fish, wild rice, and roasted Brussels sprouts on one plate. Then finish with another squeeze of fresh lemon and a sprinkle of chopped parsley for bright, fresh flavor without adding extra salt. One of the strengths of this dinner is how easy it is to adapt. If haddock isn't available, cod or pollock are both excellent alternatives that offer similar lean protein and a mild flavor. If you can't find wild rice or simply prefer another whole grain, brown rice makes a wonderful substitute while still providing steady energy and fiber. And if Brussels sprouts aren't your favorite vegetable, roasted broccoli can easily take their place while adding many of the same nutritional benefits. The goal isn't to follow one recipe forever, it's to understand the simple pattern behind the meal so you can confidently create your own balanced dinners using ingredients that fit your taste, your budget, and your lifestyle. Before we end this 7-day journey, I'd like to share the simple formula that can help you build kidney-friendly meals long after today's video. The simple formula you can use for every future meal. If you've watched this entire series, I hope you realize that you don't need 7 different meal plans to keep eating well. What you really need is one simple formula you can remember every time you walk into your kitchen. That's exactly what I want to leave you with today. Instead of asking yourself whether a recipe is perfect, ask yourself whether your plate follows a few simple principles. Once you understand those principles, you can create hundreds of different meals without feeling restricted or overwhelmed. I always begin by choosing a lean source of protein because it's the foundation of a satisfying meal. Chicken breast, fish, turkey, and egg whites have appeared throughout this series for a reason. They provide high-quality protein that helps support muscle health while generally containing less saturated fat than many heavily processed or higher-fat options. Rather than making protein the entire meal, think of it as the anchor that brings everything else together. A portion about the size of your palm is usually a simple way to keep things balanced without constantly measuring every bite. Next, I like to add a whole grain to provide steady, lasting energy. Brown rice, wild rice, quinoa, and whole grain wraps are all excellent examples we've used over the past 7 days. Whole grains offer more fiber than many refined grains, helping support digestion while providing a slower, more consistent source of energy. After that, I fill the rest of the plate with colorful vegetables. This may be the easiest habit to remember because nature has already done most of the work for us. Green vegetables, red peppers, orange carrots, purple cabbage, leafy greens, and many others each contribute their own combination of vitamins, minerals, fiber, and natural antioxidants. The more color you see on your plate, the more variety you're usually giving your body. Instead of thinking about counting nutrients, simply think about adding more natural color. Flavor is just as important as nutrition, but I encourage you to build that flavor with herbs and fresh ingredients instead of depending on salt. Garlic, parsley, rosemary, thyme, basil, black pepper, and fresh lemon juice can transform a simple meal into something delicious while helping you reduce unnecessary sodium. Throughout this series, we've seen again and again that healthy food doesn't have to taste bland when you season it thoughtfully. Another lesson I hope you'll remember is that balance matters more than perfection. Keep your protein around the size of your palm, enjoy moderate portions of whole grains, and let vegetables fill much of the remaining space on your plate. Perhaps the most important reminder of all is to stay flexible. I don't expect you to cook today's recipes forever. Some days you'll have chicken instead of fish. Other days you'll choose quinoa instead of brown rice or broccoli instead of Brussels sprouts. That's perfectly fine. The recipes may change, but the principles stay the same. Once you understand the pattern, you can build balanced meals almost anywhere with the foods you already enjoy. So whenever you're wondering what to prepare, remember today's simple formula: lean protein plus whole grains plus colorful vegetables plus healthy fats plus simple seasoning equals a balanced plate you can build again and again. It isn't just a recipe for today's dinner. It's a practical framework you can return to for years to come. If you've enjoyed this journey, I'd love for you to subscribe so we can continue learning together in future videos. There are many more practical, science-based strategies we'll explore to help you stay healthier as you age. And before you leave, please share one final comment below. Type, "I completed the 7-day kidney meal plan," and tell me the most valuable lesson you learned during this past week. I'd genuinely love to read your experience. If you've made it all the way to day 7, I want to begin by saying something from the bottom of my heart. Congratulations! Finishing this series isn't about proving that you followed every recipe perfectly or remembered every nutrition fact we discussed. It's about something much more meaningful. You showed up for yourself. You made the decision to learn, to try something new, and to take small but intentional steps toward better health. That's something worth celebrating. Real change has never been about perfection. It's about progress. Even if you only make 1 or 2 healthier choices each day, those choices begin to add up over time, gradually becoming habits that can support your health for years to come. When I think back over everything we've covered during these 7 days, I don't hope you remember every ingredient or every cooking instruction. What I truly hope you remember is the principle behind them. The greatest success of this series isn't memorizing 7 meal plans, it's learning how to build your own balanced plate with confidence. Once you understand how lean proteins, whole grains, colorful vegetables, healthy fats, and simple seasonings work together, you no longer have to depend on someone else to tell you exactly what to eat. You have a framework that you can adapt to your own life, your favorite foods, and whatever ingredients happen to be available in your kitchen. That's what gives me the most hope for you. Starting tomorrow, you don't need to search for another perfect meal plan or worry if you can't follow today's recipes exactly. You already have the knowledge to make thoughtful choices wherever you are. Whether you're shopping at the grocery store, preparing dinner for your family, or ordering a meal when you're away from home, Every balanced plate becomes another opportunity to care for your kidneys, support your heart, nourish your body, and invest in your long-term health. Those opportunities will continue long after this series is over. Thank you for giving me your time, your trust, and your commitment throughout these 7 days. It has been an honor to be part of your journey. Remember, this isn't the finish line. It's the starting point of a healthier lifestyle, built one meal, one choice, and one day at a time. I look forward to seeing you again very soon.